People whispered about the deaf millionaire who always dined alone, a man whose silence weighed heavier than his wealth. They said nothing in this world could break through the walls he built around himself, until the night a cleaning lady's baby did the unthinkable. What happened in that quiet, candlelit restaurant would bind strangers together forever, in a way no one saw coming. And if you stay with this story until the end, you'll understand how a single moment, created by the smallest voice, can change a life trapped in silence. Adrian Cole had everything most people only dream about: businesses that made headlines, a mansion that looked like a museum, and a bank account deep enough to erase the problems of entire towns. Yet none of it mattered, because silence swallowed every part of his world. Adrian had lost his hearing at 12, after a fever that nearly took his life. And though he survived, the boy who once ran through the backyard laughing at the sound of sprinklers never returned. Over the years, he learned to read lips, he learned to sign, and he learned to pretend he didn't care. But he never learned to feel less alone. Every night, he chose the same small Italian restaurant, one tucked into a corner of the city where the lights were warm and the candles flickered like whispers. He liked it because the staff knew not to speak loudly, not to start conversations, not to ask questions. They simply nodded, placed his usual meal, creamy pasta, garlic bread, and a small bottle of mineral water, then left him to the quiet that belonged only to him. The world outside called him mysterious. Others called him cold. But the truth was simpler. Adrian didn't know how to belong to people anymore. One rainy evening, he noticed something different as he walked inside. The tables were set as usual, the owners greeting him with a gentle wave. But in the corner near the janitor's closet stood a young cleaning lady he had never seen before. Her uniform was worn but tidy, her dark hair pulled into a bun that kept slipping loose, and strapped to her chest in a faded baby carrier was a small child, bright-eyed and kicking his feet happily. Adrian paused, studying them with a soft curiosity he didn't allow himself often. The woman noticed and quickly bowed her head, embarrassed. She whispered an apology he couldn't hear, but he understood her lips well enough. "I didn't have anyone to watch him tonight." Adrian nodded, once polite, distant, uninterested in anything beyond his routine, and took his seat. But that night something felt different. The restaurant wasn't silent. Of course, he couldn't hear the sounds, but he could feel small vibrations like a humming warmth around him. The baby occasionally waved his tiny hands, bouncing with excitement whenever anyone walked by. And even though Adrian wasn't watching, he found himself glancing over and over, as if something invisible tugged at him. His dinner arrived, steam drifting upward, but he barely tasted the first bite. Instead, he kept thinking about the young woman wiping tables with one hand while gently patting her baby's back with the other. She looked tired, bone-tired, in a way only parents working two jobs understand. Yet there was something soft in her smile whenever she looked at her child, a quiet hope that shone even brighter than the restaurant's lights. Adrian tried to ignore it. He wasn't good with people. He wasn't good with emotions. He wasn't good with anything that required sound. But the universe had already decided his routine was about to change, whether he wanted it to or not. By the time he finished his meal, the baby would do something, something so unexpected, so impossible, that it would shatter the life Adrian had built from silence and loneliness, and stitch his soul back together in ways he never imagined. It happened faster than anyone in the restaurant could fully process. Adrian had just signed for the check when he sensed movement to his right, a blur of tiny fingers and soft, clumsy energy. The cleaning lady's baby, who had been restless for the past 5 minutes, leaned too far over the edge of the counter where she temporarily set him in his carrier. The carrier tipped, the baby slipped, and before anyone could react, he tumbled forward. Adrian didn't hear the gasp, the shout, or the mother's scream, but he didn't need to. His instincts moved long before fear caught up. In one swift motion, he sprang from his chair, arms reaching out just in time to catch the falling child against his chest. The baby let out a cry. Adrian saw it, even if he couldn't hear it, and the small face scrunched up in trembling distress. The mother rushed toward them, trembling, tears already gathering in her eyes. She mouthed frantic words Adrian couldn't quite follow, but the fear in her expression was enough. She held out her arms, but the baby clung to Adrian's shirt with surprising strength, tiny fingers curling into the fabric like he had found something safe. For the first time in years, Adrian felt something break open inside him. A warmth, a softness, a connection. He gently handed the baby back, his movements awkward but careful, and the woman pressed her forehead to her child, whispering prayers of gratitude. When she looked up, her eyes met Adrian's, filled with an appreciation so genuine it nearly knocked the breath from his lungs. She signed a simple thank you with shaky hands, not perfectly, but enough for Adrian to understand. He blinked, stunned. Few people bothered to use sign language with him, fewer still tried. She explained with her lips slowly, "A friend taught me. I wanted to learn for work. In case," she gestured around, embarrassed. "In case someone needed it." Adrian nodded, feeling something shift between them, a quiet understanding shared between two tired humans trying to survive the world in their own ways. The baby reached for him again, a small hand stopping midair as if asking permission to bridge the distance one more time. Adrian hesitated, then gently touched the tiny fingers. That simple connection sent a wave through him, unfamiliar, tender, almost electric. The restaurant watched, silent and awestruck. For years they had seen Adrian Cole walk in and out like a ghost wrapped in wealth. Tonight he wasn't a ghost. He was a man holding the hand of a child who didn't see his silence as something broken, but simply as another way of being. The mother apologized again, cheeks flushed, but Adrian shook his head. He tried to sign back, rusty and unsure, "It's okay." She smiled, truly smiled, and the room felt lighter. That night, Adrian didn't leave immediately. He stayed longer than usual, drinking his water slowly while watching the baby fall asleep in his mother's arms. Something in him understood that their paths hadn't crossed by accident. Life had placed them in each other's world for a reason he hadn't yet learned, but he would, soon. Because this night was only the beginning. The moment the baby reached for him wasn't just an accident. It was a signal, a tiny spark that would ignite a journey of healing, friendship, and second chances, one that would change all three of their lives forever.